Hey! You! Listening to this podcast right now! Do you want to hear a fucking podcast about anything and everything? Like movies, music, television, and more?
Oh my God.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Yes.
Subscribe to Journey into Comics Network, and you get Podcastrophe, hosted by me, Dick. Why not throw a couple bucks to the Patreon? It's your choice. Yeah. This is a Podcastrophe.
That sounds so awesome.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
This is a tasty burger.
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
Is butter a carb? Will you stop eating?
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups. Candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Welcome to Foodies Watching Movies, Season 2, Episode 23. I'm your host, Lauren. You're with my co-host, Nate.
How's it going?
It's going good. Other co-host, Veronica.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
And with our special guest host, Jesse.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, and welcome.
Or good morning, depending on when they're listening, because time travel is real.
True. I didn't think of that.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good. Full of some interesting food decisions that we made today.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of had their own adventure with food, and we end up making a lot of frozen shit that was in my freezer.
That's actually a good thing to talk about. We don't ever talk about frozen food on Foodies.
Yeah, I've been doing Aldi's a lot, like for my grocery shopping, and they've been having some pretty stellar freezer picks.
Do you guys like freezer foods, typically?
I usually don't.
I typically don't either, but like you were saying, the Aldi stuff lately has just been spot on.
Yeah, it's been nice to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got some Van de Kamp fish sticks in my freezer at home.
Nice.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I did, but
I was gonna say
it was
when you
mostly
ate.
like Jose Oli tacos or something.
Nice.
In the toaster oven.
Delicious.
Not bad.
I used to like the Totino's frozen pizzas, like the pizza for ones from the 90s. That was my jam. That was some good frozen pizza.
I always liked Hot Pockets, ham and cheese.
Ugh,
Keep it basic.
Death Pockets.
Death Pockets? Were you just bad at eating Hot Pockets? You don't put them in your mouth immediately. You let them sit for like 3 to 5 after you cook them.
Pockets.
And they're perfect. Oh, they're so good. Or like pizza rolls. Come on now.
Oh yeah, I like pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls are
Those
delicious.
Are also Totino's.
Pizza rolls are really good. Can't fight that.
Do you remember the bagel bites?
Yeah.
That was the 90s had some good frozen
I think
food.
bagel bites are probably the best of the whole thing, you know?
Okay.
Like
I don't know. I recently bought a
shit.
box of bagel bites for my kid and I to share, and they didn't hold up.
Well, how'd you make them?
In the toaster oven, they didn't taste the same.
Maybe they changed the recipe.
It is modern times. They can't put all the good shit in it because it's bad for us. So
That's why I'm saying, man,
Does
the
it just
90s
feel like
freezer
things
food was where it was
automatically
at.
taste better? I don't know. I just feel like in my head, things taste better. I have better memories of food than I actually do
Food
of
memories
the food.
are...
Yeah, that's real.
It's like your food memories have been antiquated inside of your mind the way that you want them to be. Like in a perfect memories type situation.
I have a perfect food memory from the 90s called
Tell me.
Viennetta. Breyer's ice cream made this concoction called Viennetta. And I swear to God, I look back on it and I remember how delicious it was. And it couldn't possibly be that good, but I bet it still is. It was like this weird ice cream, like roll, like almost like a cake that you'd slice, and it had like all these different layers of chocolate, like crunchy flakes in it, and different ice, like chocolate and vanilla ice cream, and then more chocolate on top, and like hard chocolate shell.
This sounds extravagant.
It was incredible. It's real. Google it. It's called Viennetta, and it was real. For
Breyer's
a brief moment in
ice
time.
cream Viennetta.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to look it up.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Favorite
Look at it.
ice creams. We've kind of like shifted because we're in the freezer section right now. I honestly
ice cream is frozen food.
It is. It is definitely frozen food.
It's not the processed. Well, I guess it would be.
It is kind of processed, right? That's weird.
Everything's processed, you know.
Yeah.
Tomato plant processes the fruit.
Absolutely, you're not wrong.
You know.
Okay,
I
so
think
how much process.
I've discovered the Viennetta image.
Oh,
and it looks exactly the same as I remember it. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna show everybody. It's got like cocoa powder on top. It looks like delicious, beautiful rolls of
like
ice cream.
Tiramisu or something.
It looks like a tiramisu, but it's not coffee. It's just vanilla and chocolate with like chocolate flake, crunchy layers inside, like layers and layers of ice cream.
It looks
hand
like
this to Lauren. She's got to see this.
It looks like if
Did it come in like a regular gallon?
No, it was in a box,
yeah.
a rectangular box.
It
Because
looks
it's like a cake.
If a miniature like version of elves that only
this looks
baked
just like
stuff
tiramisu.
had homes, that's what they would look like.
Yeah.
This looks just like tiramisu.
Yeah, it looks just like tiramisu.
Only
like,
kind of like
like a Napoleon or something.
Yeah, like a horror movie version of tiramisu, kind of.
Yeah, it's decadent and beautiful and glorious, and I wish they still made it. Come on, Briars, get your shit together.
They still make the Tonight Dough, and that's what I am all about.
Tonight Dough?
Mm-hmm. The Tonight Dough is a Ben & Jerry's flavor. It's like the Jimmy Fallon flavor. So the Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's the Ben & Jerry's.
And it's got like huge globs of cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough, peanut butter cookie dough, and then chocolate cookie dough. And it is amazing. It's like probably the greatest ice cream in my opinion.
I don't know. I think it's pretty good. My favorite Ben & Jerry's, like my go-to, has always been Half Baked.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's got the brownie, the chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and cookie dough ice cream in it. But the brownie is like my favorite part. It's so good. And then they released like recently, I think they had like this brownie batter core, and it's all just chunks of brownie, and in the middle it's like it tastes like brownie batter mix, like, you know, in the middle of the ice cream. And that was really good.
Yeah, that brownie batter core is pretty delicious.
Yeah, that's probably my new favorite one.
Jesse, what about you? Ice creams, favorites, all time? Do you have a like?
All-time favorite ice cream?
Yeah. I know we're moving all around right now.
Man, I think I like all ice cream.
Fair.
If I had to choose, and I'm not very choosy, I would go with like this is a weird one probably, but mint chocolate chip.
Fuck yes.
I don't know why.
I don't like mint chocolate anything.
Love it. It's my favorite. Like a classic, doesn't have to be, it could be like, okay, I don't know how many people know Prairie Farms, but like Prairie Farms brand ice cream, mint chocolate chip that just comes in the block.
Yeah.
Just let that shit
The
melt just
cardboard
a little
block.
bit and then put it in like a milkshake. Nothing greater. Nothing greater.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's just maybe...
I think it's a texture thing too. Those flakes of mint chocolate that are actually in the ice cream, delicious.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
What about you, Lauren?
Anything with peanut butter in it, like chocolate peanut butter.
Yeah. Ben & Jerry's has a good peanut butter. It's not a peanut butter core one. It's just like peanut butter cookie dough, right?
Yes.
They have a peanut butter cookie dough ice cream.
I love getting chocolate peanut butter milkshakes.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
That does sound good.
Go to Oberweis or even Dairy Queen has them, and they're pretty good.
I like Oberweis milkshakes.
I got like a French vanilla ice cream latte from the little Sunday shop on Cedar Lake, you know?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that was pretty good.
I haven't been to that new one. That used to be the Dairy Queen, right?
The Dairy Bell, is that what you're talking about?
Well, it is still... Oh, is it? It's not a Dairy Queen anymore, is it?
No, the one over by the Sandbar restaurant.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that one's like privately owned now. It's
Yeah,
not
it
a
was
Dairy
good,
Queen
though.
anymore.
Is it a Dairy Bell?
Yeah, I think it's a Dairy Bell, right?
Dairy Bell is really fucking
No,
good.
it's not a Dairy Bell. Dairy Bell is in Hammond, right?
There's a Dairy Bell in Hammond, and there's a Dairy Bell on 30.
Yeah, right
Is it
over
Dairy
there.
Bell in 30?
Yeah, right over by the new Circle K that they just put on Austin Street.
It's strange things are afoot.
At the Circle K. Yeah, great.
Speaking of strange things...
Sure.
Oh, you finally watched it, right?
Since I broke my leg, I got a lot of time to watch movies and shows and crap.
Yeah, this is part of the reason why I wanted you to come onto our show, because you've been watching a ton of movies lately.
I feel like we almost need to back it up, though, for our listeners who don't know that you've been kind of stuck in your home. What happened to you exactly?
Well, I got off work one day and went to a concert with some friends.
Fuck
what
yeah.
concert?
It was...
Not that I don't already know.
Lamb of God and Slayer.
Fuck yeah, so metal.
It's Slayer's last tour, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was supposed to be a good time. You know, it was a good time. And not to foreshadow anything or anything.
Little did
dun,
you know.
dun, dun.
The narrator's like,
but obviously you're
little
injured,
did you
so we
know.
know that the story doesn't really necessarily have a good ending.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know.
So what happened?
Anywho, got to the show, having a good time. Lamb of God was playing. We had tickets for the pit. Actually, we didn't have tickets for the pit, to tell you the truth. My friends I went with got tickets for the pit, and I had bought a lawn seat like the day of. And then I went up to one of the guys and was like, hey, my mosh pit wristband got ripped off in the pit. And I took one of my friends gave me their ticket.
Oh, nice.
So I had it on me, and he's like, you got your ticket still? And I showed him their ticket,
Mhm.
and then I got a wristband for the mosh pit.
Hey.
So
dun dun dun. Like
he's doing.
This is why.
Karma.
Yeah, it was instant karma. This is instant karma happening.
Oh man.
So I get into the pit where I'm not supposed to be, because God didn't give me a ticket for the pit. Gave me a ticket for the lawn seats.
Oh, this is great.
So I'm having a good time. I'm in the pit, but I'm not like, I'm a smaller dude, so I'm kind of just bouncing around, and I don't really like, I'm not there to harm anybody. It's more of like just
getting that energy out.
Yeah, just being in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
As Tyler would say, you were beat bopping along in the pit.
I was moseying along.
There you go. Great word.
And I was saving others, picking them up, you know, I had
Good
pit.
Samaritan in the pit.
Yeah, I'm a pit Samaritan.
Yeah, I love it.
You know,
yet,
although I was acting Jesus-like,
Christ-like,
exactly.
At the Lamb of God concert.
Oh, it writes its fucking self.
So
doesn't
this is
it?
the weirdest part. Like I remember distinctly right before, like I wasn't wasted or anything. I was just, you know, I'm 30, dude. I'm just having a good time. And I remember like Lamb of God was playing, and I was looking at the pit on the edge, and it was like I literally felt like Satan and all his minions had come together. And what I saw out of my eyes was like straight from hell. Like the hellish evil energies in the universe are spiraling right in front of
upon,
me.
where was this? What venue was this?
Oh, it was at the Tweeter Center.
All of hell descended upon the
Tweeter Center.
Man, that used to be, that's Tinley Park?
Yeah, so
right?
It's like the...
Isn't it First Midwest
It
Bank
used to be the
Amphitheater
Tweeter
now?
Center.
Oh, yeah.
So all of
Like
Satan's
Warped
spiraling
Tour,
energy
Theater.
came down on the First Midwest Bank Amphitheater.
Yes, I love it.
So I'm on the edge of I'm not in the eye of Satan's fucking wrath, but I'm standing on the edge of it, you know?
Standing outside of the devil's anus.
It's like, boy,
Right.
you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, whatever. So I turn around, and I'm like watching Lamb of God, because they're amazing musicians. And
Mere
they're
feet in
fucking
front
badass,
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I just get crushed.
There shined a shiny demon.
Shiny Demon reached
in the
his
middle of the road.
Reached his claws out of the pit and just broke my leg.
Fuck.
Easily.
Brutal.
So did someone like go like this to you?
Well, my back was turned, so I got like kind of pushed over, and then my ankle kind of rolled slightly, and then someone stepped on my leg, you know,
As your ankle
at like
was
a
rolling.
45-degree angle.
They weren't trying to hurt you. They stepped. Your leg was there, and science has it that
People got
Yeah.
pushed onto you, right?
Yeah.
People got pushed into you, and that's what happened. Someone accidentally
Exactly.
stepped on you.
So it wasn't necessarily a demon that did this.
It was more
It
of
was
an
just bad
angel.
luck.
No, but yeah. Beside the point, it's instant karma for
I don't think
pulling
so.
a Beavis and Butthead move to get into the pit.
It's
You know,
pretty
it's-
intense punishment for just go into the pit.
No, I think it's the most metal story. Like, you were seeing Lamb of God and Slayer and had this badass reckoning to get into the pit, and then the universe took you out. You still got to see some of the show, though, right, from the sidelines?
Well, I, heard my leg break.
Oh.
And I was like, shit. This isn't good.
You don't say.
Naturally, you're in the pit. If you're down, people help you up.
Absolutely.
So someone helped me up, and I was like, fuck, my leg's flopping around. And I, started hopping out, and I fell again, a little bit out and away from the pit. And some dude's like, you need help, dude? I'm like, yeah, my leg's broke.
Yeah, my leg's broke.
And he helped me out to where the seats are right there.
Yeah.
So I sat down, and then some woman ripped my shirt off me and started patting me down with it, because apparently I was adrenaline was pumping.
Oh yeah, you're probably
I was sweating profusely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe hyperventilating a little bit without even knowing it.
Probably.
Well, you're in shock at this point because your fucking leg's broken. And you have to maintain consciousness to get yourself safe,
Yeah.
So you're full of adrenaline, I'm sure.
Yeah, full of adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm I knew my leg was broken, so I started taking my boot off to see. I wanted to see it, Got it off, and it's swollen double the size it's supposed to be, So they come with a little crappy stretcher and bring me to the infirmary. I sit there, and that was even a crazy story too, because there's they're bringing people in from the show that are wasted beyond belief and
all
shit.
kinds of tripped out.
Oh yeah, all kinds of drugs, and crazy people are in there. It's either you're hurt or you're psychologically unstable.
Okay, totally.
So I'm in there with a broken as fuck leg, and I'm consoling people. I'm dude, it's cool, I'm trying to calm people down, because I don't want them freaking out and touching my leg in any way.
Yeah, you're get away from just don't touch me.
And I'm kind of trying to stay calm in a situation where I'm in extreme pain and I'm supposed to be having fun, So I'm trying to stay calm, and I got all this crazy shit around me. And I heard Slayer from the infirmary, which was cool.
Okay, that's a cool story, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of rocking out.
Well,
not really though.
No, it would have been better to see the show.
For sure.
Yeah, that's the story. So, broken leg, long story short.
So, you've been watching a ton of movies because of that.
And I got to watch Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah, let's dish on it.
Yeah, he hasn't watched any of it yet.
And that's crazy to me that you have not seen any Stranger Things. Season 3 is only a couple months away at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Are you all caught up now?
I'm all caught up. I watched all of it.
Season 3 premieres this year?
I'm pretty sure Halloween, yeah.
I thought it came out next
year. Are they pushing it to 19?
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't have my phone. V's going to do some fact checking. Continue on to discuss what your thoughts were about Stranger Things, both seasons 1 and 2.
Season 1 was perfect.
Yes, it was. Season 1 was a perfect show, and that's exactly how I described it to people. I thought it was perfect.
It was exactly what they were going for and what should have been, because it was fucking just right on. And honestly, I wish they wouldn't have made Stranger Things 2.
You think they should have just kept it at the one story and called it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not like Season 2 in comparison with Season 1. Not nearly as much.
Talk about it, please.
Why? What about Season 2 irked you?
They started producing it too much, and it was it didn't seem real anymore. It's obviously not real, but when you're going into a story, you want it to be as real as possible. And they did a really good job in the first season of that.
It still felt very much like a small Indiana town. And in the second season, it just felt bigger than that. I don't know how else to describe it.
Sure.
Well, it did get bigger than that, because she did go up to Chicago, right? But I feel just the way that it was, maybe the success from Stranger Things 1, kind of the ego that the people who are making it got into it or something.
The Duffer Brothers.
It started to like be. It wasn't like sincere or something.
And I think that's hard when you've done something that's so successful in the first attempt. Like when you write a masterpiece like Stranger Things, a follow-up is not even it. I mean, I can't envision trying to top my own work like that, you know? Like I can only see it to so far. And honestly, you look at the first Stranger Things and it did everything right. It hits you in the nostalgic feels. It hits you emotionally. It gives you a great story. There's suspense. There's horror. There's a little bit of comedy. You know, there's love interest. I mean, it really has it all.
Barb.
R.I.P. Barb.
That's what season 2 was missing. It was fucking Barb.
It was
needed
missing
Barb.
fucking Barb. But they kind of dismissed that right away that she's gone.
Well,
you know?
in season 2, we had Bob.
Yeah, Bob, not Barb.
R.I.P. Bob.
Bob, not Barb.
What'd you think of Bob, Jesse?
I thought Bob was awesome.
Everybody thought Bob was awesome.
That's why I was so pissed when they killed him.
I know.
Well,
and in such an awful manner too.
Yeah, the chance to see it coming.
Those Demogorgons eating the shit out of him was fucking brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert for season 2 of Stranger Things.
Yeah,
if you
haven't
seen.
already seen it. But season 3 isn't supposed to be coming out until next year, I guess.
It is 19.
Yeah, I can't really find a release date online, but from what I can gather, it's not going to be until 2019.
I think that's another thing too with, like Bob, was in other movies and he's known.
Sean Astin, yeah.
Samwise Gamgee.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was in Goonies.
He was in Goonies, absolutely.
He's in a lot of shit. So, and
Rudy, wasn't he in Rudy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he comes with that baggage subconsciously, no matter what.
Right.
And all the characters from the first Stranger Things were like just people no one really like. I didn't know any of them.
Yeah,
you know?
they're unknowns.
So.
Well, except for Winona Ryder.
Yeah, Winona.
Winona.
Sure, and even subconsciously, Winona turned into some of the things she was in the past in Stranger Things.
You're right.
Right.
Absolutely. Well said.
So that kind of made it more sincere too, The second Stranger Things had Bob, and that might have I feel like they polluted it a little bit,
I did like that Steve got a larger role in season 2. That I did like.
Yeah, I
Dad
like
Steve.
babysitter Steve. Yeah, Dad Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his character arc is
Evolved.
amazing.
He evolved quite a bit.
Definitely.
Well, and when he goes from the bully to the bullied, that perspective change, he's getting kind of...
There's so many memes online of him.
Oh, I bet.
love all of them.
Oh, yeah,
so
there's
good.
always going to be...
What about that
bigger dick
scumbag with
swing,
the mullet, though?
Oh, Max's
He's got,
brother,
really long eyelashes.
Brett? Was it Brett?
I don't remember.
I
It's
don't
been a while
remember.
since we watched Stranger Things season 2.
We binged it right when it came out.
Yeah.
And it was a heavy digest, too. Like you watch it and you're like, wow.
I will say that season 1 I enjoyed more than season 2.
It's really interesting how the Upside Down can be... I'm kind of seeing it as like a subconscious realm instead of...
A different dimension?
Yeah. Instead of like an actual different dimension.
I feel like it's a shadow realm. Like it's an upside... That's what I envision it as. It's like the... Like from Scott Pilgrim, like Nega Scott or whatever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like the reverse
shadow
energy.
realm.
It's the dark matter of...
I don't know.
Kind of like Twin Peaks.
Oh my God, Lauren, we need to get some pie and watch the Twin Peaks movie, Firewalk with Me.
The actual Firewalk with Me.
And then start your goddamn podcast about it.
Yeah, we are going to be starting a Twin Peaks podcast.
Have you watched season 3 yet?
I haven't watched season 3 because I've been waiting to watch this fucking movie with you.
Okay, all right. We'll watch it. You can watch it this weekend.
Okay, I'll get a pie. I'll
Okay.
get a cherry crunch pie.
Call it a day for Sunday.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
Sounds good. Pie. We're future tripping to that.
Some really good coffee. Some damn good coffee.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about Twin Peaks. I just know the references because you guys live in Twin Peaks, apparently. So.
Once you watch
we wish we lived in Twin Peaks, Nate.
For real. Once you watch Twin Peaks, you realize just how many moments in your life you can say is a Twin Peaks moment. Like I'll meet this random person at some weird convenience store and I'll be like, oh my God, this is like a Twin Peaks character. It's real. But we're going to talk about that on our upcoming Twin Peaks podcast.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned yet that while this is the 23rd episode of season 2, it's also our second to last episode of the season.
The penultimate.
Bum, bum, bum. Technically, we had a logo change, but I don't know if we're going to roll that out now or wait till season 3. I'm not really sure how to play that.
I don't know.
That's a whole different thing.
But we are planning some cool stuff for our finale.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of lay the groundwork for that today. Now, while AP has not yet sent his list in, Jesse, you've been so kind as to give your list in this. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to kind of slowly list off and talk about all of our favorite 80s movies of all time. We all came up with a list of 20. I don't have those lists. They're up there.
I'll grab them.
You can grab those. That way we can talk about individual lists if you want and what you liked and what you didn't like. But I just literally listed out in alphabetical order every movie. I think we have 58 movies as of right now. AP will be submitting his list. And then from that, we will have like a mega bracket that we will, on the finale next episode, determine what the greatest 80s movie of all time is.
In our humble opinion.
In our humble foodies' opinion, because we know that you guys like what we're saying, because you're listening. If not, you wouldn't be listening, right? That's how this works. So I'll list off all these movies in alphabetical order briefly, and then we'll discuss and talk about who put what where and why.
Do you want me to read these lists first, like all of our individual ones, and then we can like announce which ones made the final cut?
Well, all of them are on the final cut right now because like I just listed them alphabetically because some things were named multiple times and whatnot. So
I see.
So
okay, go ahead.
Aliens, A Christmas Story, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Back to the Future, Back to the Future Part 2, Batman, Beetlejuice, Big, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Blade Runner, The Breakfast Club, Caddyshack, Clue, Coming to America, Creepshow 2, Dangerous Liaisons, Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, Empire Strikes Back, E.T., Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Friday the 13th, Full Metal Jacket, Ghostbusters, Goonies, Gremlins, Heathers, Hellraiser, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Inner Space, Labyrinth, Lost Boys, Major League, Mystic Pizza, Neverending Story, Poltergeist, Pretty in Pink, Pretty Woman, Princess Bride, Return of the Jedi, RoboCop, Scarface, Scrooged, The Shining, Short Circuit, 16 Candles, Sleepaway Camp, Spaceballs, Splat, Terminator, Terror Vision, They Live, Trading Spaces, Weird Science, When Harry Met Sally, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and The Witches of Eastwick. Bam.
Pretty good list.
It's a good list. It's a good list. Are we going to be putting these into a bracket for next episode?
Yeah, and I think I got a kind of an idea of how I'm going to do the bracketology. I'm going to take a mixture of
bracketology.
That's what they call it. That is a word. If we're talking March Madness, that's like a real word.
Right in the middle of taking a sip of wine when you said that.
I feel like everyone wants to put an ology at the end of something, and
they do musicology.
It's just fucking
it's not
too much, man.
Bracketology.
That's a real word. It is real.
Did you really think you could say that word without us calling you out on it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason.
Wow.
March Madness. It's a real word. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
When did science is it a science though?
Kind of, because there's like actual math numbers behind the seeds, and like if we're talking actual like March Madness, a 13 seed, mathematically speaking, is most likely to beat a 4 seed, which is a crazy disadvantage, as far as seeding is concerned. 78% of the time more than any others in any round. In the history of the NCAA, only one time has a 16 seed ever beat a 1 seed in the first round. Doesn't happen.
So it's just statistics.
It's
mathematics.
Technically mathematics,
so
correct.
I guess bracketology could be a legitimate science.
Just mathematics. Let's
it
not
is.
try to fluff it up.
Sure, fair enough.
All right. What were you saying, Nate?
I'm essentially going to go on to like Rotten Tomatoes, what is it, Box Office Mojo, and compile like numbers, what their tomato scores are and everything, and just go in order. And then what we'll do is we'll divide them up like a technically a March Madness bracket. Your top 4 will go to their own individual seeds, then 2s, and then 3s, and so on. And then when we go to next week, when we get to the finale, in 2 weeks actually, rather, we will determine by voting and discussing what the best movie from the 1980s ends up being.
You got all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know it's
Cool.
a lot. It's a lot.
Well, I think the movies that we threw out here on our list are pretty all-encompassing. I mean...
I'm going to be honest. I just did a search for 80s movies on Google. I just kind of went with that.
Well, you probably looked at the list and went, I know this movie. I like this movie. I like this movie.
I've seen all of them.
Totally.
At least once.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's fair. I mean, I looked at a list that was like all of the movies released from 1980 to 1989 and just went through the list and was like, oh, that's a great movie.
I did not do that. I thought about all of the movies that immediately came to my brain when I thought, what are my favorite 80s movies? So then I
didn't realize The
just wrote them
Shining was an
down.
80s movie.
1980. Yeah.
I just
that's on the list.
Thought of 80s movies, wrote them down until I couldn't think of any. Like, really?
Were you the one who put Splat?
No. Splat.
That was supposed to be Splash.
Oh, I thought you said Splat. I was
You
like,
said
what is
Splat.
I was
You
like,
said
what is
Splat.
Splash.
Splash.
You said
that was on my
Splat,
list.
though.
Speaking of
Splash.
Speaking of Splat,
You said Splat.
there's no 80s porn on there.
Is that... Oh, gross.
I'm just kidding.
you could have voted for that. I mean,
I don't even know any 80s porn.
I don't either. There are a bunch of movies on
Debbie
this
Does
list.
Dallas, maybe?
God
think
damn,
that's
that's the only
70s,
one.
right?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think it's 70s
I'm
probably.
pretty sure that's 70s. Anyway, I'm not up on my history of porn.
Your pornology?
My pornology.
Exactly.
I'm not up on the pornology.
That's great.
Exactly.
I'll have to go to our resident pornologist, Dick Blaine Tyner, for
Yeah,
some
over at
statistics.
Podcastrophe.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so I was saying I feel like this list is pretty good. There's tons of movies on the list that I'm just now thinking of that I would have wanted to put on there, like The Witches, or like more kid movies that I saw, like The Little Mermaid or whatever.
Yeah, I can't believe The Little Mermaid didn't make your list.
I know. Well, see, like I told you, this is just like a list of the movies that I thought of right away. Like I didn't look any of them up. I just thought of them as like, oh yeah, I love this 80s movie.
I think it's interesting to note
So
that...
you're a truist. You're like...
Yeah, you wanted it to just be from your brains.
Well, we said that we wanted this to be in our opinion. So
Sure.
this is like the purest form of my opinion because it's the only thing that I can think. These are the only movies that I thought of right away, you know?
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So
That's very
clearly they're
noble.
important.
It was interesting to note that there's only one movie that made all four of our lists.
Which one?
Yes.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Good.
But there are a lot of movies that almost made everyone's list, and then one person wouldn't have something. I think like Ghostbusters, everybody had, but Jesse maybe.
Yeah, I didn't put Ghostbusters.
And then like I think everybody but Lauren had Batman.
89 Batman. Yep.
So
I don't like
What about the
89
Lost
Batman.
Boys?
I didn't have Lost Boys.
I didn't have Lost Boys either.
Oh,
I had
did, and you
Aliens.
did.
I had Aliens.
I had Aliens. Did you have Alien or Aliens?
Aliens.
As did I.
That's the sequel. Yeah, you can look at the
Aliens
list.
makes me miss really bad.
What?
You know,
Bill Paxton, yeah.
I love Bill Paxton.
He's the most out of control son of a bitch in the game.
It's the extreme.
I'm not back.
God, we have a problem. We really like Bill Paxton.
Twister. Okay, looking at this list, I want to talk about Breakfast Club. Almost makes everybody's list. Like that's a phenomenal
That's an
movie.
obvious one.
Yeah, no questions. Movies that like when I was looking at other people's lists, I was like, oh shit, that's an 80s movie I would have loved to have put on my list. Let me see where a couple of these here. RoboCop came to mind. I can't believe I didn't even put that together.
Was that your pick, Jesse?
Yeah, RoboCop's an excellent action-adventure movie.
Yes.
1982, I believe, right?
Very well said, yes.
And it really... That's one of the things that I noticed most about watching a lot of 80s movies in 2018.
Okay.
Is the difference that culturally that men and women have, you know?
Oh, 30 years in the making.
Yeah. And we were talking about it earlier, like, it was in the 90s, it was different, and then in the 2000s it changed slightly, and now we're here.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, such a dramatic type of change.
That conversation was in reference to Heathers, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about how Heathers was like
that made
what
the list.
90s did with The Craft and what the 2000s did with Mean Girls.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it's really interesting to see how different they are, but the stories are still the same. You know,
it's gender role stuff, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like in the expectations of men and women, and how they've changed dramatically from just 30 years ago. It's interesting.
We were talking to my mom about that earlier, about 1980s movies, because we knew we were going to be talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah,
and
totally.
She had some good insights. She was talking about like Purple Rain and all of what she appreciated about the 80s movies and how different the movies were compared to the movies that are coming out today.
Absolutely. Looking over this list, I was surprised to see Beetlejuice not make your list.
I'm surprised as well.
Like, really? I was literally I was certain that you were going to be a lock for Beetlejuice, and it didn't make the list.
I started thinking about fucking Julia Roberts, and I started just going on this train of Mystic Pizza, Pretty Woman, like all of these movies that had her in it, and I don't even like her as an actress, really. I just love her 80s movies.
Wasn't A League of Their Own in 80s?
No, that was like 1991.
It was 91, early 90s.
It wasn't Julia Roberts anyway, that was Gina Davis.
That was Gina Davis from Beetlejuice.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, Beetlejuice was like totally my jam when I was little. I loved it, and I'm really ashamed that I didn't think about it.
I can't believe I was the only person that put any of the Star Wars movies, like Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, on my list.
I feel like when I think about 80s movies, I think about what I enjoyed watching in the 80s and in the early 90s when I was little, And
I was not yet born in the 80s.
Ah, truth.
Well, yeah, Lauren's a youngin'.
I was born in 1990.
I feel like those Star Wars movies are kind of timeless too. Like
absolutely,
the only way you can figure out that they're 80s movies is maybe like
from the haircuts,
special effects, and haircuts and stuff. But
Luke Skywalker's
like
late 70s hair.
80s movies have kind of like a certain feeling to them, or like a
timelessness.
That's like the Star Wars. The Star Wars ones are timeless. Like 80s movies have like this.
They have like a grain to them where you're watching a movie from the 80s.
Right. It's like this weird kind of. It makes you feel like you're like entering some kind of parallel universe or something.
Totally.
Or you're like watching something you've seen before type thing. It's weird.
That's how I feel when I watch movies like Predator or Terminator, or like any action movies or like buddy cop movie from the 80s. I always feel is like, oh my god, this is so 80s.
Predator does not make the list.
Predator didn't make the list.
But Terminator made the list. Absolutely. It is a good one.
We were talking about that earlier. Like, I'm a big advocate for Terminator 2.
Yeah, but it's a 90s flick.
Right.
91.
We'll have to save that for next season.
Next season, yeah, we got a big plan. Next season, we're going to kind of, I think, try to plan it out better to where every episode we talk about 90s movies and then build to our finale and have a decision like...
Yeah, that sounds good.
90s movies are definitely my jam.
There's a lot of good ones. There's so many Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler movies that are going to be in there.
Yeah, we're going to have a very, very fun 90s feeling season 3.
Mike Myers movies in the 90s. I mean, those three alone are a huge chunk of 1990s flicks.
Mm-hmm.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Great call. I didn't even think.
That's a good one.
One of my favorites. I used to watch that like twice a week when I was, like 7 or 8.
Me too.
Yeah, it was just great.
Was Phantasm an 80s movie?
No. I was.
Oh my god!
That's what I'm pretty
sure. Whoa, Lauren, you were freaking me out.
Creepy.
Before you got here earlier tonight, Jesse was asking the same question because he's like, "What's this movie with all of these like crystal things that like?"
No,
kill?
It's floating chrome balls that shoot out fucking blades.
Yeah,
and he couldn't think of the name of it, and he had to Google it, and it was Phantasm.
Yeah,
but he couldn't use it.
See, that movie feels like an 80s movie. Like
came out in the early 90s, didn't it?
No, we looked it up. And
79?
It was like 1982 or 1 or something.
No, it was in the 70s because you wanted to put it on your list.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't
79,
able to
I
put it on the
think.
list because it was
You're right.
79.
Yeah, it was like 1 year before.
It's so weird that you brought that movie up because he was literally just talking about it a few hours ago.
Yeah, that was actually a 70s movie.
Damn. Witchy.
Super weird, though.
Horror movies on here.
79 is pretty much 80, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But close enough.
We put The Shining on there.
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
A Nightmare on Elm Street,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Poltergeist, Friday the 13th, OG.
A Nightmare on Elm Street was my jam when I was growing up.
Love that movie.
Me and my neighbor, Sydney Reese, and her mom would let us watch whatever we wanted.
Fuck yeah.
She would take us out to the video store, and she would drive us around in her,
I remember
her
going to
Jeep
the
with the
video
top
store.
down. And we would go to the video store and we would rent like all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching like all of them at her house.
My favorite part of A Nightmare on Elm Street is when he's outside and he cuts his finger off and he goes, "Hey, Tina, watch this." And he just cuts his own finger off and she screams like...
My favorite Nightmare on Elm
So
Street is
funny.
the third one.
Dream Warriors.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's our buddy
yes.
size favorite one,
favorite.
right?
It's amazing.
That was a weird one, wasn't it? Like how it was shot. Weren't they? I just distinctly remember like a lot of scenes where it was like overexposed and real bright, like when you're waking up or something.
Kind of, yeah.
And like they're riding their bikes to go to the school or some shit, you know? Like it's like one of those adventures to try to figure out Freddy.
After the third one, the third one was where Nancy died, isn't it?
Yes.
And she wasn't brought back until New Nightmare.
Which is another amazing movie from the Nightmare on Elm Street series. New Nightmare is so clever because it was
it's like
a documentary where
like a meta.
Yes,
Nightmare on Elm
exactly.
Street.
Because
it's like self-aware because
the actors are playing themselves.
The actors are playing themselves, and they begin to realize that they're playing themselves.
I never saw that one.
It's fucked up.
Is it with the original actor?
Yeah.
It has the guy who plays her dad in it. He comes back.
Robert Englund is Freddy, obviously.
What was the one that came out that filmed around here? The one with Jack?
That was the new one with Rooney Mara.
Oh, Jack Earl Haley.
Yeah, that one was filmed like in Gary. Some parts of it were.
That's around
that
these
one was
here
not
parts.
good.
Not as good, and there were a lot of replications of the OG movie in that movie, like trying to shot for shot replicate it in a modern look. Which, okay, I get it, but
shot for shot remakes work sometimes.
And they don't work in some other cases, like in the remake of Psycho.
Yeah,
with Vince Vaughn.
In the remake of Funny Games.
Ridiculous.
I
fucking hated Funny Games.
I loved the original, the German version.
Well, yeah, but I hated the remake they did with Michael Pitt and
Naomi
Watts. That movie made me feel sick to my stomach after I watched it. Like I needed to take a shower, and I was just mad. I was like, "What the fuck? What is this shit?" I didn't like it, but I got mad because it was a remake, shot by shot, done by the same dude who did the original one. And I was like, already had a chip on my shoulder thinking it was going to be pretentious, like pseudo art, you know? And that's exactly what I thought it was. Pretentious shit. Sorry.
Back to A Nightmare on Elm Street real quick. That's the debut of Johnny Depp, his first credited role. Friday the 13th, first credited role for Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Fuck yeah.
Some bacon.
I love me
Kevin
some
Bacon's
bacon.
dope.
I was not a big fan of Jason as a serial killer. I always preferred Freddy because Freddy to me was a lot scarier because he could
psychological.
He could get you in your dreams.
Yeah.
And he wasn't just this big hulking like idiot
that you can run away from.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Freddy, like you could not run from him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could try to, but it'll eventually get you.
Well, technically Jason, you can't run away from him either. Like he's just slower. You know what I mean? Like he always comes back to get you, and that's like the worst part. It's like you can feel.
Oh shit! I gotta move again. Jason found me.
Right.
Man, there's some brutal deaths.
You gotta roll off. You gotta get up off the couch.
Yeah. God damn it, he's out there. All right, I'll pack my shit.
Exactly.
Did Halloween come out in the 80s?
No, 70s. The original Halloween would have come out in 78 because Halloween H2O was 20 years in 98, and then now they're doing the 40th anniversary this year in 2018.
I'm not looking forward to that movie as much as I am to the Suspiria remake.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Suspiria remake. I like the Argento movies.
Suspiria.
I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
It's an Italian horror movie done by Dario Argento. He made a lot of really good shit in the 70s. He mostly did like Italian movies because he's an Italian director. But
right. Sure. This movie Suspiria came out in 1977.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about this young girl. She's a ballet dancer from New York, and she goes to Italy to train to become a ballet dancer at this school there, and she comes to find out that the school is run by like a coven of witches.
Oh.
What's up with covens making their round lately?
Yeah.
This remake has Dakota Johnson, Chloe Grace Moretz, Tilda Swinton,
Okay.
Mia Goth.
I feel like it's just going to be too mainstream. Like, I feel like it's cast with people that it's going to be too Hollywood. You know what I mean?
I'm still going to go see it.
I'm still going to go see it, too. I'll probably go see it with you.
Okay. November 2nd. Mark your calendar.
I'll put it in my date book.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys an interesting question. Of the movies on your list, if you could only champion one.
Okay, does everybody need to look at their
Yes,
lists?
please. Can you please pass out the lists?
Yeah. This one's mine.
That's mine, V.
That one's
Thanks,
Nate's.
honey.
That's mine. Okay. So, what are you asking?
If you could only pick one off of your list to champion as the movie that needs to make it to the final round, the best movie of the 80s in your humblest opinion, what are you championing throughout this upcoming duel that we will be having?
I put so many good movies on my list, it's hard to say.
If I'm thinking of like the quintessential 80s movie, I would have to go with The Breakfast Club.
Are we doing the quintessential 80s movies, or are we doing our favorites?
Favorite.
The ones that we...
Our personal
If we saw it on TV, we would watch it over and over and over if it was still on.
Okay,
like
I got my answer.
The ones that you love, and it's your go-to 80s movie if you're feeling like, oh, I'm going to watch an 80s movie today.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off for me.
That's
Easy.
for you?
Has to be. That movie is
interesting because I know a certain somebody who hates that movie.
Really? Matthew Broderick is incredible as an actor. That movie is funny and well thought out. And there's a lot of depth to that movie. And then there's the whole like crazy conspiracy theory that it's Cameron's fever dream as he's dying because he's like he hates Ferris Bueller so much. And in his final moments, all he can see is Ferris getting his way and he being drug along for the ride.
Ferris Bueller is an excellent movie. I love it. It's very quotable. It's very funny. It's very still fresh to me. Like, I could still watch it and enjoy it. That's a great one. That's not what I would pick, though.
Ooh. Jesse?
But I want to go last.
I feel like I want to say Terror Vision just because it's not going to get a fair assessment in the scheme of things, because a lot of people haven't seen it, and even if they did, they wouldn't like it, I think. But for me,
Terror Vision,
yeah, because we're talking 80s movies, it's really 80s. It has that 80s vibe that I was talking about earlier, that like you can watch it and then you're blasted back in time a little bit, you know.
It's the music of it, it's the look of it, it's the feel of it.
Like if you had, blinders on your eyes.
Sure.
You were just watching that. Maybe you could pretend like you were in that era.
Okay.
It would be easier to feel like
get lost in it and think you're in the 80s. I dig that. Well, you've got me intrigued just by the little bit, because I mean, even off air before we were officially started, you and I were talking, and you said that you think I would enjoy Terror Vision because it's like kind of a B horror 80s thing, and that's my jam.
It's a comedy. I find a lot of horror movies to be comedy, really, which is weird, but just because I have a sick kind of way of looking at things. But it's actually
it's your sunny disposition.
It's supposed to be a comedy too, So
totally.
It's like just goofy 80s comedy, and it just has like this great kind of like a sheen to it,
Sure.
That's why I want to give up. Well, I'd put it out there. It's either that or Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
It's kind of the same.
In the same vein, for sure.
Yeah.
So you have a very specific taste in 80s movies.
All right, Lauren.
I feel like I'd have to go with either Aliens or The Goonies.
Okay. okay, both are great for totally different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at this point I'm changing mine to Back to the Future, because the more I think about it, I think Back to the Future is the best movie that came out of the 80s, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well,
I just love Aliens because it introduced us, not introduced us, because obviously Alien came first.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of solidified Ellen Ripley as like a
the baddest
ass
of asses ever.
Female
You
horror.
want to know why? Because that role was originally written for a man, and they ended up casting Sigourney Weaver in it, and it totally changed the face of women in cinema, in movies, and horror movies, and sci-fi movies, and as leads. Like, she was a fucking pioneer, and she was excellent. Aliens was on my list too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. I had a bunch of movies on my list. I feel like I could make an argument for almost any one of them. Like, I've got the basic shit like Pretty Woman, 16 Candles, When Harry Met Sally, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller. I also have some curveballs like The Witches of Eastwick and Mystic Pizza and Creepshow 2.
Dangerous Liaisons.
Dangerous Liaisons. That's a great 80s movie because it has Michelle Pfeiffer in it. And a very young Uma Thurman.
Oh.
Just so you know. Yeah, The Witches of Eastwick, that's one of my favorite movies ever. Also has Michelle Pfeiffer in it. I'm sensing a theme. And Jack Nicholson. And The Shining's on here. But I think if I was going to make an argument for any of them, it would probably be The Princess Bride.
Oh, okay.
I think that's like my favorite quintessential 80s movie.
I had Princess Bride on mine too. It's a great story. You
Yeah,
know?
it's a great movie.
And we're lacking wholesome moral values in our movies today.
It's a classic fairy tale. It has everything: giants, monsters, chases,
Gremlins is another great family 80s movie.
Gremlins I had
Gremlins,
too.
yeah, that's a good one.
Mogwai.
Little Shop of Horrors was really good too.
Great movie, absolutely. You know what movie I almost put on the list?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, because I'm thinking of Rick Moranis.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say.
What weird.
She reads my mind sometimes, you guys. It's creepy.
It's a fun game.
It is. Just trips me the fuck out. No, I'm looking forward to the finale because I think there's a lot of we're being friendly right now, but there's some intense conversations to be had when arguing what movie is better and or why moving forward.
All head out next time on Foodies Watching Movies.
Yeah, I can't believe we're gonna
Finale.
be at the finale of season 2 and then have an overhaul of the. It's crazy. It's crazy how things work. Lauren, you weren't podcasting with us when our season 2 started initially. You were just a guest, and now you're a full-time part of this. You still love it?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. You know, we actually, to just brief on this, we don't have to go into the movie side because people already heard you and I do the review of this movie on
Ant-Man
Monday.
and the Wasp.
But the three of us went and actually saw that in theaters and had a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, we didn't really get to talk to you that much about the movie, Lauren, because we all dipped because it was getting real late when we went to saw this movie. But what did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I had not seen the first Ant-Man.
Right. She asked me after the movie ended. She's like, should I have seen the first movie to get this movie? And I was like, no. I don't think you need to see the first movie to appreciate the second one.
And do you know what other movie she needed to see that she didn't to see this movie? Civil War. She hadn't seen Civil War.
You haven't seen Civil War, so you had no idea who the fuck Ant-Man even was.
No.
That's hilarious. Why did you agree to go to this movie?
I didn't know Civil War would have anything to do with it. I just thought it was Ant-Man and the Wasp, like the second Ant-Man. So I just thought that Ant-Man was only involved in the Ant-Man part of Marvel.
And even so, you didn't see Ant-Man in the first place, so wouldn't have mattered, right?
No.
You were just okay, yeah.
Honestly, I don't think she needs to have seen either of them to have appreciated Ant-Man and the Wasp.
To appreciate it, I agree.
Like I was telling, who was I telling this earlier to? Oh, I was telling it to my mom and her boyfriend, maybe? I was like, I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of presented some solutions to some problems that were presented in the Avengers movie that came out this year. So I feel like that...
Infinity War?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I really feel like it was good to watch just for that part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, and that end credit scene.
Mm-hmm. Wait, has Jesse seen it yet?
No, we can't spoil it.
We won't spoil it.
No, we won't spoil it.
You can, because I'm not going to watch it anyway.
Why not? It was pretty good. It didn't feel like a Marvel movie to me.
I'm gonna watch it, but I don't know. I just
You don't care if you get spoiled.
spoilers, whatever. I'll forget that.
I love Evangeline Lilly.
She killed it.
Evangeline Lilly was excellent in this movie. She was way better in this one than in the first Ant-Man movie.
Or in any of the Lord of the Rings movies that she was in.
Was she in the Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
movies?
she played Toriel.
In the Hobbits,
the
right?
elf. She was in the Hobbits.
Oh, that's right. I remember that vaguely.
She's also
I only
in Lost.
I saw Lost. I watched every episode of Lost. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I had really seen her in because I watched the Hobbit movie, and I don't think I saw the last one that came out.
No,
Her hair
Battle
was
of Five
ridiculous.
Armies.
No, I didn't see that. I don't think.
Her hair was ridiculous. Like you could totally tell that she was wearing a wig.
Well, you could totally tell she was wearing a wig in the first Ant-Man movie. She had a very severe, awful bob. I'm glad to see her hair was definitely more natural and loose in this movie.
Yeah.
Like that even matters. But I thought Evangeline Lilly was really good in it. I liked her a lot. And I liked her character. And, I don't know, it was like double billing. I liked that.
Yeah. It's weird because the movies for me can be very stressful. Like, you're going, we find seats.
It was comical for the most part. Like, it was very lighthearted.
Yeah.
And, like, it didn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah, it almost felt like a Marvel rom-com.
Yeah.
Like an action rom-com. And I liked that. It was different. It didn't feel like I was watching a depressing fucking Infinity Wars or was watching a very politically charged Black Panther movie or whatever. This felt like a nice, easy breezy, fun
palate cleanser after
palate
Infinity
cleanser.
War. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Rudd and his bland spaghetti dinner.
You stop it. Stop talking mad shit on my homie Paul Rudd. I'm over here championing that dude. He's awesome.
I didn't say anything other than he was.
There were a lot of little funny little quips that were said in this movie that I really enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was some good there was some like solid family comedy in this movie. I liked it.
I think I'll watch it.
I
Probably
bet.
in 2 years or something.
When it comes on Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if you're waiting for Netflix, it'll only probably be 6 months before it hits Netflix, honestly. Thor Ragnarok came out in November. It's already on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just came out on Netflix this month, right?
Uh-huh, correct.
Star Wars is out on Netflix.
What?
Oh, yeah, The Last Jedi and Rogue One, right?
Is Rogue One? I don't give a fuck
It's
about
still on
Rogue One.
Netflix.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen Rogue One. I don't care for it.
Really?
It was very depressing, wasn't it?
It's super depressing, but you know it's depressing if you know anything about Star Wars, because you know that the people that get the Death Star plans aren't going to make it.
Well, you don't think about that while you're watching it, do you?
I did.
I didn't.
The whole time I was like, I can't wait for every
and then
single
I got
one.
to the end and I was like, what the fuck did I just pay to go watch?
Yeah.
On everybody.
I mean,
at the
I
end.
knew, like, subconsciously that was going to happen, but when it did, I was just like, oh, Jesus, I forgot this is how this is supposed to end. God damn it, why am I emotionally invested
Didn't,
in
like,
this?
the whole planet basically blow up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's one of the first planets
Yeah,
that
they all
gets taken
died.
out by the Death Star, ultimately.
Isn't
with the power
Mads
of.
Mikkelsen in that movie?
Yes, he's
Hannibal?
He's Galen Erso, Jen Erso's dad.
Oh, yeah. He was good in it.
He was also in Doctor Strange. He's
Was he?
he's
was-
Caecilius.
He was a villain.
Yeah,
You just recently watched Doctor Strange, Jesse, didn't you?
He plays a great villain.
I like Doctor Strange. That was like one
That
of
was
my
a good one.
One of the ones that I did like.
yeah. It's really a
Yeah,
well
it's a good
thought
Marvel
out,
movie.
clever Marvel
I love
movie.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah,
I still need to finish watching Sherlock. I've got like 2 episodes of Sherlock left. I've been holding out on watching it because I don't
How
want it to
many
be
seasons
over.
are there? There are 4
5.
seasons?
Are there 5?
4?
I think they're 5.
All I know is I
4?
have 2 episodes to
Maybe
watch
they're
on
4.
Netflix left before it's over. For
It's
me.
4 because they were talking about doing a 5th season, and I'm not sure if that's happening now.
Well, they always keep it open-ended.
Stephen Moffat probably isn't going to come back to do it. I don't think he is.
Ooh,
I
and
feel
we're
like Stephen Moffat's kind of done with BBC.
You think
Ooh.
so? Well, I know he's not doing Doctor Who.
Yeah.
which, speaking of, on the cusp of that as well.
Yeah, I need to catch up. I just started watching Peter Capaldi's season of Doctor Who.
She's halfway
First
through
season of-
season 8.
The season 8
It's hard.
It's rough.
Yeah, I've been not wanting to watch it. We've watched, what, like 6 episodes of it?
Season 9 is a lot better.
Well, I'm almost done with season 8. I just got to power through it.
And then season 10 is phenomenal.
Is that the most recent one?
Mm-hmm. Have you
Capaldi's
finished
last
it?
season?
Yeah, have you finished it yet?
No, still haven't even really. No.
Yeah, it's nothing against him as the Doctor. It's just like the writing, I guess.
I just couldn't get into it. not to spoil anything, no spoilers.
Spoilers.
After Clara left, I just could not.
It's hard, but Bill is a very like the Bill story that they tell in season 10. It's no spoilers.
I'm only on season 8.
Yeah, but
you made me like swear not to look ahead or anything.
You're right. I'm not gonna say anything. Anyways, the story they tell within Capaldi's final season is brilliant and bold. Like, they don't hold back. They really go for it. And
even though I heard that his very last episode was weak.
His very last episode was strange. It's strange, and if you aren't like really up and up on what's going on, because spoiler alert, they bring back a doctor, but I can't say who and why.
Better not be Matt Smith.
No, it's not Matt Smith, and it's not what you're expecting. But it's a two-doctor story.
It's not David Tennant.
No.
It's not Christopher Eccleston.
No.
Someone from pre-modern Doctor
the old
Who.
seasons.
Oh yeah. And actually, technically, it's a recast.
Yeah, because he died, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
The first Doctor?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the
Correct.
first Doctor?
Yes.
He's long dead.
Yeah, but do you know who William Bradley is? He was in like Harry Potter as Filch, I think.
Yes.
The janitor guy, and he was in like Captain America: The First Avenger.
Who played the first Doctor? Wasn't it William Hartnell?
Yes, it was William Hartnell. Great memory, absolutely. But yeah, William Bradley is actually the guy who was cast in An Adventure in Time and Space, which was the biopic, like telling of the story of the first season of Doctor Who and the first episode and how it came to be and everything. And he was so good, they brought him back, and he's going to essentially, for the time being, anytime they need to cast the first Doctor for something, he will be the first Doctor.
I love how they come up with ways to bring old doctors back, like just strange.
All of these conversations and more are going to be had on an upcoming project.
Yeah, called Gallifredio. It's already been announced.
Yeah, we're
stoked.
starting a Doctor Who podcast as well called Gallifredio.
That's the case, and I really need to watch this most recent season.
Yeah, you guys need to catch up
we got to catch up because we're going to have to talk about this.
It's going to be so hard to do, though. I just don't want to watch it without Clara.
Well, I'm still watching it with her, so I don't know nothing about that.
Why don't, when you get to season 10, we'll just all watch it together, and then you can catch up,
and then we'll
be
Gallifredio.
prepped. And then what we can do, because what my goal is to launch Gallifredio around the time of the new season with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, because I'm fucking jazzed on that. Have you watched Attack the Block yet?
No.
Ooh,
you need
would
to do that.
Love that movie.
Can you give me that
I
Blu-ray?
rented it to you, or I loaned it to you. Rented it.
You haven't watched it yet?
I lent it to you.
Have you seen Attack the Block, Jesse?
No.
I feel like you would really appreciate this movie, too.
It's a BBC flick, written by Nick Frost, the guy who's like in all the Simon Pegg movies.
Okay.
Like Shaun of the Dead.
And he also stars in the movie. It's got John Boyega from Star Wars, the guy that plays Finn. And the dude who's in Legends of Tomorrow, I can't think of his name.
Oh, yeah, the dude from Legends of Tomorrow.
What the fuck?
He plays Jax.
Yeah, he plays Jefferson Jax. I can't think of his real name. Anyways, it's these kids that they are just living in the hood in Britain, and something crashes down, and it's an alien, and these kids jump the alien. And then all of a sudden, there's an alien invasion, and they have to protect their block, their flat, their place,
their apartment complex.
And Jodie Whittaker is like
one of the tenants,
and she's also somebody who they rob in the very beginning of the movie.
She was also in Broadchurch, wasn't she?
Yes, she.
I didn't watch Broadchurch. I was told not to watch that.
You're not allowed to watch it.
You will not.
It is emotionally destroying.
That's what I was told.
I mean, that show. The David Tennant OG BBC series of Broadchurch is devastating, emotionally speaking.
Yeah, no thanks.
I mean, it's like every episode, they don't only remind you of the tragedy.
Slow burn.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's a very slow burn.
And then the payoff is like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in watching it.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I mean, you should, but don't.
I do like David Tennant, but
yeah, he's great.
And he uses his original Scottish accent.
I can appreciate that. I thought he was great in Jessica Jones.
He's back for season 2 of Jessica Jones.
In part, like not...
Wait, you saw it already? You've seen it? You caught up?
No.
Oh.
But I read about it.
Okay, good. Fill us in, because I haven't seen it yet.
I read that, like, he just comes back in, like, episode, like, I don't know how many episodes there are total, maybe, like, 10 or 12. He comes back in, like, episode 8 for, like, part of it, but it's not, like, him, like, coming back as Kilgrave. It's just, like, a part of his memory that's, like, somehow, like, kind of, like, attached itself to Jessica's memory or something.
Ooh,
like,
interesting.
Like, it's basically just Jessica hallucinating about him. Like, it's not, like, new character development.
So he's on the show, but he's not, like, as himself on the show.
Yeah.
Like, the character's not coming back.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we need to catch up. We didn't watch The Defenders. We didn't watch
Punisher.
We didn't... Yeah, we've got a
No
ton
Luke
of Netflix
Cage.
shit to
No
catch
Luke
up
Cage
on.
Season 2. No Iron Fist. Nobody really wants to watch Iron Fist.
Did you watch any of those shows? Did you watch Daredevil at least?
No.
Oh my god.
None of it.
Daredevil is incredible. You would love that show. That's more homework for you while you're recuperating.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a not so much like to get into like seasons of stuff just because I'll never sit back down and finish it, you know. But now that I have the time, I just smash through.
Go into binge mode.
Yeah,
you're like on season 3 of Californication, right?
Yeah,
and you just started it.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite shows. I love David Duchovny.
That's a
I
good
love David
show.
Duchovny too. David Duchovny, why don't you love me?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
All right. Well, I think we're about to wrap this up. All right. Well, let me get into the plugs and everything. As always, folks, you can check out the Journey into Comics network at journeyintocomics.com, where you can get Foodies Watching Movies, which is what we are recording right now. We have a special guest who's here. You want to say hi into the mic? You don't want to say hi into the mic? Okay, that's fine.
He just came down.
All right. Well, you guys can get Foodies Watching Movies at journeyintocomics.com, or go to all the different podcasting platforms, whether it's iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, or Spotify. You can also go to patreon.com/journeyintocomics. Give us $1. Get early access. Give us $3. Get early access and exclusive content. I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Foodies Watching Movies.
Thanks for coming, Jesse and Lauren. I'm happy you guys are
very
here.
welcome.
Yes,
yeah, it was great. It was great to nerd out with you guys about some 80s movies. Jesse, if you would like to come back for the finale, you were a part of this part. I'd love to have you for the final conversation. That's something that'll be happening shortly. So we'll get you the information on that if you want to be a part of it for sure.
Sure, I'm going to have to do... you know, I'm not going back to work for a little bit, so...
All right,
I got plenty of time to watch movies.
Sounds great. All right, well, for Foodies Watching Movies, this is Season 2, Episode 23. I'm Nate.
I'm Veronica.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Lauren.
And as always, folks, do your best to eat fearlessly. Later.